Hi, welcome to Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I am here with Kelly, aka.
Scarlett May.
Hi, Scarlett. How are you doing today?
I am doing pretty good. The sun is out, and that makes always makes me happy.
Oh, yes. How are you surviving this whole entire pandemic?
So far so good. Some days are better than other days, just kind of like life in general. But I'm grateful I'm still able to work, so I have that to keep me busy and a long cleaning list.
Girl, who you telling? I got so many honey-do things to do, and I'm thinking, like, this ain't my job. You the honey, you do it. So, thank you for being on Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I've been having the pleasure to talk with Kelly off of the live feed, and she's told me a little bit about herself, and we have actually a lot in common, which I've been discovering with all the women that I've been interviewing the last few days, that we all kind of have a similar kind of background and a similar struggle. And that's what makes this community so awesome. So, welcome again. We'll just get right to it. So, I know that off screen we were talking about what some of your struggles and obstacles have been throughout your life. And one of your main statements that you said to me was believing in yourself. And I wanted to ask you, what exactly does that mean to you?
Um, it's interesting because if you were to look at me, and I've had people say it before, like that they would never expect that I struggle with that. Um, I'm very social. I like being around people. I was part of sports teams growing up. But there's always been that part of my mind that's like, I can't do something, or I'm not good enough to do something. And it's taken a lot of years and a lot of practice to kind of change that mentality for me.
When do you think this, like, why do you have that feeling? Were you ever told this as a child, or why would you even go there? And so, like, most people are very confident, and for you to say that you didn't believe in yourself, what made you feel that way?
Part of my struggle as a teen, especially as you're trying to figure out where you fit in, and I never fit in one specific group in high school. And I was on the bigger side that even then. As much as I love my mom, one of her catchphrases to me when I liked a boy and the boy liked one of my friends was, "It was always because she was thin." And that always stayed with me. And even though my mom has never said the words, "You're not good enough," I always translated her other words into that in my own head.
Yeah. Was your mom a thin woman?
She was when she was growing up, and then she had 3 kids, and that sort of changed things for a long
I get it. Yeah, yeah.
um and then maybe 15 years ago, due to some health issues that she was having, she kind of set out to start walking and to eat better, and she probably lost about 40 or 50 pounds doing that. So she kind of did whittle herself down again
Right.
as she got older.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, just before we get too far into it, I was telling you earlier, I met you at the retro holidays runway show that Alicia threw in December 2019. And I was stunned by how beautiful you were. I know you might not think it's yourself all the time, but for me, I've only seen you a handful of times, like twice now, and every time you've been put together very well. So, it's, I know my opinion might not matter to anything, but for real,
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
that was one of the reasons why I was intrigued into the lifestyle, because how everybody was so beautiful and everybody's makeup was so on point, and hair and accessories. I mean, that is something that I do want to say right off the bat. I thought you were just phenomenal. Um, So you explained that you never really fit in because you kind of like got along with everybody. So you were kind of like just like the fun loving, like bubbly girl that everybody just loved.
Pretty much. In high school, I played sports, so I got along with the athletes, but I was really smart, but not quite as smart as the smartest kids. I had after school jobs, so I knew people through there. And it really was like there was never one
Yeah. You were just
specific
well
group.
rounded. Like you sound like
Yeah.
a well rounded person.
Yep.
Did you ever find yourself when you were going through the motion of like making your friends and finding kind of like trying to find where you fit in? Did you ever find yourself putting on a mask or, like being a person that you really weren't feeling inside of here because you wanted this outward person?
Yeah, for a lot of years. In general, I'm a positive personality. I always try to find the good things in life, but um, what I would portray to the world versus maybe what I was feeling inside could vary tremendously. And I would use my social life as a way to keep myself so busy that I wouldn't think about what I might have been lacking in life. Oh, that I was single, that my friends were starting to settle down, but I wasn't. And if you keep yourself really busy, then you don't have to think about it or feel it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, even if you're not feeling it, you're feeling it. It's just you're not outwardly showing it.
Yeah.
And that is where the mask comes in, so that you can always put on this like, oh, I'm just such a happy person, and inside you're like, oh, I totally understand. What would be some of your past hurts, like things that people would say to you or do that, I know you did share with like your mom saying the hurtful things of like, oh well, if you were skinny, like besides your mom, did anybody else contribute to some of that self-hate that you have for yourself?
There's a lot of things. Well, maybe not a lot of things, but there were moments like I went to Catholic school for, elementary and middle school, then switched to a public high school. So same 50 kids for 8 years. I didn't realize I was poor until somebody made fun of me. And I was probably in sixth grade, and because my parents always provided,
Right.
we were never lacking gifts at Christmas or birthdays. Um, I also have a name that you can start just about every letter of the alphabet, making a rhyme with it. And when you're a kid and people want to be mean, the most obvious one is Smelly Kelly. So that was for a while, whether it was true or not, it's still what the
Okay.
kids
Yeah.
gravitated to.
They're evil.
Yeah. um, and there was a lot of years where like I'd meet somebody and be interested in them, potentially to date, and my friends would be the ones that were picked. And in the moment, it's really hard to not be picked. I mean, now that I'm older and I have hindsight's 2020, and there's a lot of moments that I'm really glad that
You
I
like
wasn't.
dodged a bullet.
Yes. Yes, I dodged a bullet, but in those moments where it's like, well, what's different between her and I, or like, what is it that person gets picked and I don't? It's really, those are really difficult rejections to overcome.
Have you ever gone through a depression, Kelly, from it?
Um, there haven't been very many times, and I don't know if were necessarily. I'm sure that played a part in that.
Mm-hmm.
But the times when I've really felt down or depressed have also been in conjunction with the death of a loved one.
Have
So
you had
there's
a lot of deaths, like in your
uh,
life?
I had, when I was in a 5-year time period, between 15 and 20, I lost my grandparents, and I had lived in the same house. I grew up in the same house with them. So they were like my parents to me. And in between them, I had a cousin who died. And then I lost my dad about 4 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So it's, so there's always a lot of things swirling. I wouldn't necessarily attribute it to any one thing.
It's a collection of stuff.
Yeah.
You have such a hurt in your eyes right now. Is that just hard to like talk about?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I mean, I've been to therapy. I've spent a lot of time in therapy trying to
Me
work
too.
through, working through the past hurts, but they're still, I mean, they still sting.
Yeah.
They're still there. I mean, there's still a lot of moments where it's like, oh, I've made all this forward progress, and one little thing could set me off in that moment. And it's like, oh, I'm that hurt little girl or hurt teenage girl again. And, it doesn't happen often, but like, it's still there,
No, I was talking to another fellow pinup, and she kind of alluded to the fact that she thought she was over a lot of things too, and she kind of was like, "Whew," like taken back of how she felt, and she she said the same thing. Like, it's been so long that I didn't think that talking about it would bring back such a strong, feeling of like hurt and pain, and I was like, even though you're older and wiser and stronger, you have still a little bit of a post-traumatic stress disorder, and things will trigger it. A smell, a memory, a picture. Like, you'll go back to that moment of being like that little girl, or that, that scared teenager again, or it happens, and it's normal. So I don't want you to feel kind of like taken back by that. Like, your face totally changed for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, she's feeling something and she wasn't ready for it.
Yeah. But it's so important to make these things speakable.
Yeah.
You'd be hard pressed to find somebody in life that hasn't been hurt, hasn't dealt with something, maybe the way they deal with something is different than the way I would deal with the same thing, because we're
If you
different.
still dealt with something.
But it's so many people try to hide those hard moments or those hard things to work through, and they're so important to put out there, because you never know who you might be helping.
Yeah. I this is why I started this, because I believe in that 110%. So thank you for that, because that's true. So let's go to 23, 24. You said that that's kind of where the real struggle with like accepting yourself and maybe a little bit of the weight and things of that nature really start to hit home.
Yeah, it's like, I grew up playing sports, so I was running around a lot, bicycling a lot, and then college hit, and life eating became a free for all. And I mean, I knew what size clothes I wore. I knew I wore bigger clothes than my friends wore. I couldn't borrow their clothes. But I want to say I was probably right before I turned 24. And I happened to be home visiting my parents, and I stepped on the scale, and I found my dad only weighed about 10 pounds more than I did.
Oh, I had that moment.
That was my, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all moment. And I didn't really know how to go about. I didn't have any next steps. It was just oh my gosh, something's got to give.
Feel comfortable sharing that number?
I weighed 238 pounds, and he was 250, maybe just over 250 at the time. And it was just like, oh. And I remember going back to Boston and telling one of my friends about it. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. And for me, I have a program that works for me. When I work it, it works for me. And she kind of gave me some material to read, and that started. And sometimes it's a really great journey, and I've lost weight and I've gained weight, and I pay attention to what goes in my body. I've noticed that the older I've gotten, the better educated I am about my food choices. And, I know if I'm spending a whole weekend out and drinking and eating out, like, it's going to show.
Yeah. It catches up to you, ugh, unfortunately.
It does. And like, I know, just picking out fruits and vegetables to have around the house as snacks, especially right now, since I'm here all the time. What am I going to have for a snack? Well, there's apples and oranges and bananas. Okay,
Yeah,
what do I
yeah.
feel today? you
It,
know,
it's it's a struggle. And then I don't know about you, but for myself, I'm an emotional eater. So definitely, and I'm like, when I say emotional, I mean I eat with all the emotions.
yep. Oh yeah.
I eat. I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm sad. I eat when I'm just bored.
Yep. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh, I don't want to deal with this thought. I don't want to. If I speak it, it's going to be real, and I don't want to deal with that yet. So let me eat
I just
because
like
that'll make
eat
it
my
better.
emotions down. I just like eat, and then I'm like sitting there and I'm just so happy with my whatever I'm eating that everything else in the moment is just like gone.
Yep.
But it
Yep.
does come back, unfortunately.
It does. It does.
um, and with your health, have you suffered any health issues or anything of that nature?
Luckily, no. I think there's been a couple of times when my cholesterol has been a little on the higher side, but nothing that warranted my doctor, saying, "Oh my gosh, you need to change." But enough that I educated myself in what sort of foods would help lower and bring it more in control.
Right.
Um, so yeah, knock on wood.
Knock on wood,
That
knock,
side of
knock,
things
knock.
is good.
I'm doing it
Yeah.
for you. I'm knocking. Um, so a lot of the stuff that you were talking about, it sounds like a lot of it is coming from your internal struggle. Yes, you had people in your life that weren't so nice. Like I said before, your mom said some things that kind of stuck with you, and some things that happen with the guys or girlfriends, like the whole entire like if a guy liked a girl, or if you liked the guy, he might like your girlfriend. But do you feel like some of this was just Kelly? Like this was just you keeping yourself in this box?
I think so. I think I let these things stay with me and then impact me. One of my biggest, again, I grew up playing sports, but the sports I grew up playing, you do short sprints. Basketball, you're up and down the court. Softball, you're running the bases. I remember at 17, I think it was 17, looking at my brother. He's like, "Let's run a 5K." There's a 5K in my hometown on the 4th of July every year. I'm like, I don't run. I am not a runner. No. And fast forward, that would have been in 1995. And fast forward to 2003, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try and become a runner. And I lasted 2 weeks before I went on vacation. And I never went back to it. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner. And my dad got sick in '04, and watching him try to rebuild his health to get to a point of being able to have his knees replaced was such an impact on me, because I didn't think like, yeah, he's done. He's done. And he had such a positive attitude, especially in winter, that it finally hit me. I'm like, wait a minute. The only person telling me I am not a runner is me. Me. Nobody else on this planet is telling me this. Well, why am I listening to me? Who says I can't? And I did. I set myself a goal. I started training in February of '05 for that 4th of July race. Gave myself a long time to train and get used to it. And I ran my first 5K with my mom and dad watching, and a whole boatload of friends, because
Oh,
it's right before the
wow.
local parade.
High five to you,
Yeah.
Kelly.
So,
Yeah.
and
I
it's like,
still have no balls to do that.
yeah.
I don't run.
And
I'm
it's like, it's amazing how you find that one thing,
yeah.
and sometimes you forget it. And like, I've had friends who have told me I've since grew into running marathons. And after my 5th one, my friend's husband looked at me. He's also my friend. I shouldn't say it's just her husband, but he goes, "You realize the only person that doesn't fully believe that when you decide to do something is you." He goes, "Everybody else in your life knows once you make up your mind, you're going to do it.
Only you stop with you.
Mm-hmm.
Only you.
And it's like, oh, wow, he's right.
Are you successful in your career?
I am.
And
I
how
am.
do you think you got successful in that if you didn't believe in yourself?
True. It's so true. Hard work, learning along the way, like that's what, I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I'm still improving.
yeah. So you
Yeah.
just have to use that same philosophy of how we grow the corporate ladder or in our careers, where like we know the more hard work we put in, the farther up the ladder we go. Same thing with your personal goals, whether it be weight loss, whether it be learn a new language or whatever the case may be. Yeah, you just got to stay on the mental path of like I can do it, and even when I'm not, I will find a way, and that's
Yep.
what you got to do.
So
That kind of brings us to your pinup journey right here. Like, uh, for someone who has had the struggle of not feeling the prettiest or the skinniest or whatever society wants to tell us is beautiful, how did you get into such a world of beauty and glamour and makeup and hair for someone who started off in your shoes that didn't think this?
it's funny. So it was just over 2 years ago, and I had decided I was going to move to Milwaukee, and we were up here and had a girls' weekend. And I remember, I think I was complaining about my clothes and the way whatever I had fit. And we were all at Joe's house. And there's 5 of us, and we are all different shapes, sizes, proportions, you name it. And we started playing dress up in Joe's closet. And there was one particular dress
Yeah.
that we each took a turn trying on. And for 5 different women to try on this dress, it fit every single one of us.
That's amazing.
Perfect. And the more I played dress up in Joe's closet, the more I'm like, oh, some of these styles and some of these patterns like are so much more flattering to my curves than just my t-shirt and my jeans are. Don't get me wrong, I love the t-shirts and jeans too, but it was this whole new world to me. And when I had decided I was turning 40 was going to be my point to prove to myself that I could do this.
Yeah.
And so I signed up for my first contest, and I didn't have any pictures to submit to the contest, so I had to get some done. And I had 2 friends who did my hair and makeup.
Yeah.
So my initial, I couldn't do that. Like, it was just so beyond me. And it's funny to watch it. Like, I started with makeup, and each time I probably sent a bazillion and a half messages to people like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Wait, what? Or like, oh, my eyeliner smudged, so how do I fix this? Like, and it took a while to get out of my own head of, well, you get a Q-tip and you use some makeup remover and you erase the mistake and you
Yeah.
redo it. Like, I had to learn that doing makeup was kind of a playtime. Like,
Yep.
play around with it. Find what works for me might not work for the next girl or for the next girl. But, being open to it and to trying different eyeshadow shades, different lipstick shades, like, oh, okay, so now it might still take me 45 minutes to do my makeup, but I enjoy the process of doing it. And the hair was the next step for me. I have very curly, very thick hair. And I have been wearing this style of just, I scrunch it and I go since I was 14, and what do you mean I can use a curling iron and curlers and do my hair? And I have still, the ladies will tell you, I send out a million messages when I'm trying to do my hair. Can I go out in public like this? Do I really need to brush? Do I really need to keep brushing it?
Yeah.
So, and one of the last time we saw each other in person was at World of Wheels, and that was my very first, from start to finish, doing my own hair.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to get some pictures from Kelly so I can throw a couple out there because she looks fabulous, darling. Absolutely.
And it's same with the hair as with the makeup. Like, all right, play around. Does the curling iron work better?
I know for myself that I put on Coco Chanel compared to Shell. Um, I don't feel like I'm not me, but I feel like me 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that
Yeah.
confidence?
There is something about doing the full makeup and doing the full hair and putting on a pretty dress or skirt or whatever the outfit is. I feel like I stand taller. I feel like it's just it's Kelly 2.0. It's the same. I'm the same person. I'm always going to be the same person on the inside, but it's this outer shell that's just that much extra.
Now let me tell you, when we were talking about the sad stuff, your eyes kind of went sad. When we were just talking about that, they like totally started to sparkle. So I can really tell that this is something that you truly enjoy.
Yes.
Um, if a young like if let's say I'm a baby Pinup and I'm getting into this life, so of course you're describing things to me that are just so like amazing and fairy tale. And I know that you suggested that you got into this around you said 40, like that was your like
Yeah.
right. So that's one thing that I do want to have emphasized that you don't have to get into this world when you're like a teenager or in your 20s. Kelly got into her first competitions after she turned 40, and I think that was when you said, I'm not going to give a damn on what people think. I'm going to do what makes me happy.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. And it sounds all sunshine and rainbows, but it's nerve-wracking too. That I lucked out in that the first contest I ended up doing was in front of a massive crowd that was full of my friends. you
Okay.
know, and it was amazing. And I mean, the ladies that were in the contest will tell you, like, we were practicing poses the night before, and I was freaking out about having to get on stage and pose. But there was something about that day that, while the nerves were still there, I don't think it translated on stage, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing with this world. Not everybody's going to get along with everybody. I mean, I'm an adult, I know this, it's true. But while each individual woman on that's going to walk on a stage with you is trying their best to win, because it is a competition, they are also, I have been backstage and it's like, come here, hold on, you need to fix your dress, or you need to tuck your shirt in, or, oh, your stockings aren't quite lined right, they're not lining up properly. Like, there's so many women they just want every other woman to have their best shot at competing,
Yeah.
and it's such a nice environment to be in.
Yeah. What would be one of your most memorable moments so far?
um I think
Ooh,
I'm
you got a good smile. What is this
I
one?
know I know I want to say it was at Torque Fest in 2018. That's when I needed to get some pictures taken. And I ride a motorcycle. I'm in jeans and a tank top all summer long. I have helmet hair all summer long. And I got dressed up. My hair and makeup were done, and I was in a dress and walking around. And so many people who were used to seeing me one way saw me this way. And it was just the reactions of people. It was like, oh, yeah, that's me. Oh, yeah. It blew me away. It really blew me away to see that, and to have that kind of double side, dual personality,
Yeah.
Gemini, so dual personality of it was really, that is still that's probably one of my favorite moments.
Well, definitely try to get you some of those pics. I
Yes.
definitely want to see you in the twerk fest. I want to say twerk fest every time I hear it, but I know it's a twerk fest. People are gonna Google that and see a whole different type of
Like,
show.
wait a minute, what?
So I'm gonna let Kelly kind of like bring it home for us and share her personal pearls of wisdom for the young ladies and the young men who might be basically going through the struggle that Kelly has seen, where you might not have been the most confident in yourself, or you might not have believed in yourself, and just, listen to her words of wisdom.
My biggest, because it's been on my mind a lot lately, is your mindset. Whatever you think you can or you think you can't do, you're right. And I like to put the spin on it, I can and I will, watch me. If you believe you deserve to be a part of something and you want to be a part of something, you're going to find a way to be a part of something. And that positive mindset is such a big thing.
Yeah. You gotta speak it into existence for it to happen, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And how's that work for you when you do that?
It's amazing. And it's funny because there's moments, I haven't run a marathon in a few years, and I some days I struggle on my little short runs. But it's amazing that even those moments, like, okay, you just have to get through a mile. You can get through a mile. You run a mile how many times? Bazillion. And it's just that positive, like, yes, I can. Yes, I can do this. Yes. And then to see the results of it, that's what, that even right there is like, oh, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, that was me. Pat on my shoulder. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I could do that again.
I can do that again. This wasn't so bad. I can handle it.
So bad. People were fun. We could do that.
Well, I just want to tell you once again, like, I know that I say this, I've said this 2 times now, with your personal struggle and your story that you've shared, I cannot tell you how many women, pinup or not, have gone through this very similar thought process. And if you're watching this now, please take note that Kelly never said that this was going to not be an ongoing struggle that she will have. She still probably to this day, when she comes across the obstacle, might doubt herself. But the point is, she gets back out there, and then she tries, and then she's successful.
True.
So you can have your moments of self-doubt, right, Kelly? You can doubt yourself.
They happen.
Yeah.
We wish they didn't, but they do. They happen.
Yeah. And I don't want you guys to like crucify yourself, because some people beat themselves up just for doubting yourself.
Have the moment, but don't live in the moment.
Thank you. That's what I was getting at.
Yep.
That's what I was getting at. Thank you so much. Oh, that was good. I pulled that right out.
You're good. You are good.
So, but thank you so much, Kelly, for sharing your story with me. I look forward to seeing you many more times in Milwaukee, and hopefully you come out to good old Chicago and come do some stuff out here too. And you just stay blessed, stay beautiful, stay the person that you are, because I personally think you're a rock star, and I don't give a damn what anybody else thinks.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.
Oh, you're so very welcome. I enjoy this because I once too needed a pearl of wisdom, and it took someone to give it to me for me to get through a hard time in my life, and I just want to pay it forward.
I love that. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to Kelly's story. Please, if you haven't already, hit that like button down there. Like, subscribe. And if you guys have any questions for Kelly, or if you guys want to leave her comments and words of encouragement, anything of that nature, she would love to see it, I'm sure. And if you have any questions for her, I'm sure she wouldn't mind answering those as well. So just everybody stay blessed. Keep your crown from being crooked, and you just keep on pushing, okay? Don't hang up, Kelly. I'm going to talk to you some more after this. But everybody else, bye.